What's up, guys? My name is Yiwe, and welcome. Good morning. I say good morning because it's 7:15 right now, and the sun is coming up. I just got some breakfast, and I have made some hot tea for myself. And I mentioned this. It makes thematic sense. We're going to be talking about some things today. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a little story about how I became a morning person. And there's a reason I will tell you this that we will get to in a bit. But first, the story. It's really short, laughably short. One day, I wasn't a morning person. I didn't like getting up early. It was hard. I didn't really like mornings. I was a bit of a night owl. And then one day, I decided to be a morning person. And then I was. See, now the reason that I tell you this little story is not because it's better to be a morning person than a not morning person, or it's not good to be a night owl, or those kinds of things. To each his own. But the fact that I decided to be a morning person and then was, I think, is very important. And we're going to talk about that for a little, because I think people have a lot more agency to change themselves than they think, particularly when talking about your mindset. And so I say I just decided to be a morning person, and that's true. Really, all that it took for me to be a morning person was I decided that I would like getting up in the morning. And so I got up in the morning, and I started thinking about all the great things that are happening in the morning, which is not a lot, which is great. So, like, this morning the sky was beautiful. The clouds were moving at two different levels. Like, one was moving this way, and another set of clouds was moving kind of this way. And it looked like they were spiraling, kind of, because I could see a lot of the horizon. And so it was pretty cool. And it was really quiet here in College Station. That never happens. What else is great about the mornings? Hot tea is great about the mornings. And you can drink hot tea at other times of the day. You can drink hot tea at night, as long as you decide that you're gonna enjoy the hot tea, and that being a night person is great because of hot tea. Okay, I have some notes, some other things that I wanted to mention. Yeah, so basically, the reason that I'm telling you this is there's other things in my life that I learned to change about myself, because the only difference between me being a morning person and me not being a morning person was me deciding that I wanted to be a morning person. And, like, literally that was all it took. A little bit of effort and force of the will, but really that's it. Now, what else? Oh, I have another little story before I bring it back to League, and we'll talk about League in a second. But I used to do kind of poorly in math. It was never too hard for me, but I just didn't really like it very much. So I didn't do it very much, and I didn't like doing it. Now, I had a friend. I'm old. I've been in college for a couple years. I had a friend who was asking me to help her with some math homework, and it was I can't remember what kind of problems it was, but the class was Math 141. I remember that. I don't even remember what we did in it. But she was asking me to help her with some math problems. Now, I had already taken Math 141 and 142 and a couple other maths, and I was done taking math forever. I'd never have to take another math class in my life. And this was true then as well. And so she asked me to do some math, and I was like, okay, I will help you. And I hadn't done these types of problems in like a year or two. So it was very rusty. But I approached them, and I was like, you know what? I can figure this out. Oh, excuse me. The tea. I was like, I can figure this out, and I did it, and it was easy. She showed me a couple notes, and I just looked at them, and I did the problem, and it was correct, and I was like, wow, that was a piece of cake. And she was like, Aaron, you must have done so well in math, and I was like, no, I got a C, and C's get degrees, and we're good to go. And I remember thinking later that day that I was surprised that I did so well and that the math problem was so easy for me. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I approached it thinking, Aaron, you can kick this in the butt. Or, excuse me, Yiwe, you can kick this in the butt. And I did. And it was, and because I approached it with the mindset of, hey, let's figure this out, let's do it, it's just a math problem. I did it, and it was easy. And I mean, there's a lot of other little things in my life where I've begun changing the way I am, especially up here, just because I decided to change these things about myself. Now, if you want to be a morning person, that's great. Be a morning person. Decide to be a morning person and like the things that people do in the morning. If you want to be a night owl, that's great. Think of all the great things that there are happening at night. Like all the lights go out so you can turn on a lamp, and a reading by a little lamp is like really cool. Sometimes people really like doing that. Some people like watching shows that come in at night. That's great. So yeah, what does this all have to do with League? Well, you can decide and just be a nice League player. You can do that. Like right now. You can just decide, hey, I want to be nice to people in games. And the only difference between you not being a nice person in games and being a nice person in games is being a nice person versus not being a nice person. Like literally, that's it. If you are nice to people in games, then you are a nice person to people in games. If you're not, then you're not. So just decide, right? And I know that like old habits die hard. So maybe you get really frustrated and get really into the game. That's fine. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, it's just a game. Don't get mad." To a lot of people, you know, it's not just a game. That's kind of that's patronizing to say. To a lot of people, it's a big challenge, and they like succeeding in League, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. And if you're playing ranked, you really want to do well. So it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to be angry as long as you handle that in a good way. So you can just like every time you get to Champion Select, put a little sticky note on your computer or something to remind you when you start every game. Decide that you are a good teammate and you're nice to your teammates, and you do everything that you can to win the game, not just to look cool and try and get the highest KDA and, you know, BM the enemy team and make them feel bad, because that's not cool. So yeah, that was a lot about life, a little bit about me, and a little bit about League. So I hope you enjoyed. That's really all I got to talk about today. And I'll see you guys next time. If you like the stuff, let me know. If you have any other questions or comments, let me know down below in the video. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, and bye!